Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Impact Wrestling review. First off, hope y'all having a great 3-day weekend. Happy Memorial Day. I'm a little late on this due to other reviews, especially Double or Nothing review that is up online right now. Please check that out. But I wasn't gonna, keep going until I did this Impact Wrestling review because I almost forgot to do it because I did see the show on Friday and it was really good. To be honest. Almost like last week's, especially kicking it off with Sami Callahan versus Falaba. Pretty much OVE was out there with Callahan, and Scarlett Bordeaux was out there with Falaba. But by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but is KM still in the company, or did he leave? Because what happened to that? He just kind of randomly disappeared, and they put Bordeaux with him. So I don't know. I just kind of want to question that. If anybody knows, is KM, Kevin Matthews still at the company? Please kind of address that. But, just kind of getting back into the whole match and everything, which wasn't actually bad. Kind of an interesting battle between Callahan and Ba, I will say that. Pretty much OVE got involved with Scarlett Bordeaux, which, pretty much Ba was able to take all three of them out, especially in a big suicide dive with, some rope leverage from Scarlett Bordeaux. Pretty much when Ba was trying to get back into the ring, Callahan pretty much got him in a power driver on the ropes, trying to get back in, spiked him, using as a leverage then with the ropes, getting the win. So it was an interesting match, I will say that. I gotta say, man, that Ba guy just like moving faster and faster for a guy his size. So I said before, the guy like he's losing weight to me nowadays, but it's good shape though. I'll give him that. But pretty much a good match with him and Callahan. I will say that. So gets the heels over. Still trying to make OVE look powerful. Next, they had this promo from Tommy Dreamer, a guy who I see in almost every wrestling show nowadays. I feel like Dreamer was cutting a promo talking about facing RVD back in ECW, and Dreamer talked about how Van Dam came from Japan, and he inspired Dreamer, and we fought everywhere from the ECW arena to Madison Square Garden for the hardcore title. I do remember that. Hard Justice, or Hardcore Justice, they did in TNA. There's a history of long with ECW, both of these guys fighting each other. But, friends, they the ones that leave the biggest scars and everything and put out the greatest battles. So once again, we're going to go. It was always like an ECW promo back then, especially how the setting was and where Dreamer was talking. And talk about we're going to go to the Extreme tonight. So Van Dam versus Dreamer. Next, Melissa Santos was interviewing Johnny Impact and Johnny Bravo, who had the Giant X thing from the Ultimate X match, which people forget that if you did not see the United We Stand show during WrestleMania weekend, that is canon, and since Johnny Impact won it, he gets a future X Division title shot, but with Swan not here around right now, since, Elgin sent him to the hospital. Impact called him a giant meathead, but Elgin was pretty much right behind him the whole time, even though he still gets a future X Division title shot. He talked about putting Swan in the hospital, and Johnny pretty much says, since he's behind him and everything, Elgin says, I agree with you what you said about putting people in the hospital. And Johnny called them turd cutters, as Swan and the Mac were going to face them next week in a tag team match, and he could put anyone in the hospital, and he means everybody, including Impact himself. Pretty much Elgin slapped Johnny on the back then. I guess his partners right now, since we don't really have a world champion on TV in this whole feud to one of being hurt. But excuse me. Pretty much Johnny said the slap was stiff. Next, Taya went against Madison Rayne for the Knockouts Championship. This was not a bad match, I will say. Pretty good. Kind of expected Taya to win. Pretty much, she had countered Madison Rayne's, I think it's called the Cross Rain, her finisher is, which she was able to pull the referee's shirt to get out of the move then, which pretty much gave her the chance to hit the Road to Valhalla for the win. So, like I said, not a bad match between her and Rayne, but Taya, still defended the title right after. Next thing you know, Rosemary came out, which I guess she's now next in line for a title shot. which she brought Su Yung out there, and I guess the Demon Collar, as she pretty much looked at Rosemary pretty much looked at Taya in, I guess, won the championship. I don't think did we ever get a match from these two? If I remember, not that long ago, probably almost a year ago now. Wasn't that supposed to be like some red wedding match between these two? But if you remember that horrible Bound for Glory where Taya couldn't make it due to visa issues in Canada, so yeah, I think I remember it was like visa issues in Canada, so that never happened. I remember a lot of people looking forward to that match. So I guess Taya is going to be going in some, Rosemary next. Hopefully they do not put her in this whole Undead Realm thing, because I don't even know the end game to this anymore with that, which she will get that excuse me anymore, because pretty much then right after, I guess this whole Undead Realm thing is still going though, because James Mitchell was back, surprisingly, pretty much applauding Rosemary. Pretty much, I've always looked at you as part of the family. Like, you took care of my son Abyss while Abyss was part of Decay, reviving his career, which is true, okay? That is definitely true, because I don't think a lot of people are giving a shit about Abyss nowadays until Decay was back, and, him, Crazy Steve, Rosemary, and it did revitalize Abyss's career, especially in the whole Broken Universe thing with the Hardys. That was awesome, and multiple other things as the group before, unfortunately the group ended, due to Jeff Jarrett's horrible bullshit booking in Global Force. But Crazy Steve ended up leaving, and I think Abyss was just part of he started creative back until he left the company. But he is right about that, about revitalizing his career during that time. But Mitchell said, Rosemary is stealing bridesmaids and everything, and he's trying to be like a cuckold right now. And Mitchell says, listen, just give me Su Yung back, and everything will be good. But Rosemary said the Shadow is tired of your voice, and they got what they wanted. So, Su Yung in a new mission, pretty much. We now have Su Yung, so now we want the Knockouts title next. Rosemary said that Su Yung, this dress that she was killed in before, she will die in this dress too. So, good promo, but I'm still wondering, when does this Undead Realm thing ever end? And how long will Su Yung be part of this, I don't know, like pretty much a slave right now, or hostage to Rosemary until something happens? I don't know how the Knockouts title will be involved in this, since I guess this is going to be Taya's next opponent, so we'll see where that goes into. They had a skit with the Deaners. I guess they were at some the King of Steaks in Philly, in Philly cheese steaks. Pretty much says Cody Deaner pretty much says, we need to increase our size, everything. We got to lay off the beer and stuff and women. But, Jake Deaner pretty much got him some beer then after that. Pretty much said he had him after he smuggled him some after that. I don't know where this tag team is going. They played Eddie Edwards promo, which he talked about his career having ups and downs, from winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship to Sami Callahan accidentally damn near killing him with that baseball bat to the eye thing. But one thing that has been consistent in his life is Kenny, even though he hasn't had this kendo stick that long when he won it, especially when he had the TNA title. But Eddie Edwards talked about how, Kenny is he knows Kenny is a kendo stick. He's not an idiot, but, he was there when his wife left him. His best friend Moose betrayed him. I guess Davey Richards doesn't count, but that was pre-crazy Eddie Edwards. And Moose betrayed him, but he talked about Killer Cross. Pretty much took away from something that was his life, and that Eddie said next week in front of the most bloodthirsty fans in the crowd, they're going to have their money's worth, as he's going to break Killer Cross in half like he broke Kenny the Kendo Stick in half. And Eddie said he was doing this for Kenny, so I guess it's going to be a match next week with him and Killer Cross, which I don't even, I'm hearing more and more of those rumors about Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux leaving, by the way. I found it interesting that I saw them at Double or Nothing this weekend. If you go look online, they were in the crowd, kind of sitting near the front, so, hey, I don't know. I'm not taking any guesses. Like I said, I've been hearing some stories. They may be leaving Impact. That'd be a bad move if they lose them, because Killer Cross is great, okay? I like the guy. The guy just fits the psycho, cold, calculated killer type of thing. And Bordeaux, the whole Killer Smoke Show thing is Raw. Could they be going? I don't know. I know they're like a team, so we'll see what happens with that whole thing. LAX went against the North for the Tag Team Championships. Pretty good match. I'm not really surprised LAX won. Even though like the North had it at one point, but since there wasn't a full 3 after the North hit their finisher, the match kept going. LAX still ended up winning, getting the pin on Jason Alexander, which I'm surprised they keep pinning him in that Ethan Page with the reverse Thunder Valley after that. I believe Santana is healed now, by the way, so he will be in it for the next tapings. I know that because I think he had a stage 2. I know it was a meniscus. I don't remember his injury, but I know he's healed now. But LAX still a good match. So, I don't know who LAX's next big opponents are going to be right now. And personally, I don't even know if the Lucha Brothers are really still in Impact right now. I know they were at AEW last Saturday, but are they in a full contract? I don't know. I see the Lucha Brothers everywhere, so we don't know where they're going to be going, Pentagon and Phoenix. I would love to see LAX versus the Young Bucks, though. That's a match I'm damn near willing to see. I want to see that. Disco Inferno, Gil Glenn Birdie came out talking about an exhibition match, and he's talking about the women again, as people called him asshole during that. And he told the fans they need to be quiet because he was going to be providing commentary in the ring. So mute, Callis and Josh Matthews, as this woman came out named Ashley Vox. And he says, we know people aren't familiar with you. As, once again, Disco was just downplaying all the women and the whole, wrestling, women wrestling in general. And Disco pretty much says that, Ashley, are you dating someone in the Impact locker room? Is this how you got out here? Because, the business has changed back then when the women, they were kept in the back because they were the ones dating the wrestlers. Now, this wasn't a match. This is an exhibition. As he started beating up this girl, I'm still trying to see where they're going with this, but Disco is getting heat, though, which he took a cheap shot at her and even pretty much said, this is called an armbar, all right? As he's talking through the match, and Van Shannon, you still suck at him. And as he put in a headlock, Disco pretty much mocked the fans, pretty much calling him internet marks. And this is the part where you said, this is awesome, Chance, okay? We all know you're going to say that, or you deserve it, Chance. Which, he says, it's not my fault that this match is not a 5-star match because you're not getting it. And next thing you know, he tried to get the 3 count, but it didn't work. Ashley hit her with a thumb to the throat. Disco pretty much then got it back with a hip toss. That's called a hip toss, people. And he is better than her. But as he kept talking, Ashley pretty much rolled up for a 2 count. Disco got mad at the referee for almost counting to 3, but Ashley pretty much gave it a drop kick in. And as she was getting the upper hand, as Don Cal saying to kick his ass and everything, Disco pretty much knocked her in midair as she did a drop kick and even hit her with a stunner. And pretty much told the referee to count them, but pretty much held her up. And he says, oh, she kicked out of my finish. She kicked out of my finish. And pretty much did another finisher. And as he kept going, Tessa Blanchard came out and pretty much stopped this whole thing, which ended in disqualification. Since, I find it odd that they have Tessa Blanchard going for Disco Inferno. I thought she was going to be next in line for the Knockouts Championship. Now, I know this is going to get, it's getting heat on Disco, and I guess it makes people want to see Tessa kick the living shit out of him. But do we really need to do this again? I know we did it with Scarlett Bordeaux and everything, but are we pushing for, Disco to kick the living shit out of, not Disco, Tessa to kick the living shit out of Disco Inferno? I guess so. But I do find it odd that they have her in this thing and not going for the championship right now. Rohit Raju versus P. Williams versus Ace Austin versus Desmond Xavier. Since, they had a smoke session again with the Rascals earlier in the night training, which was pretty funny. We had a pretty much a random fatal 4-way X Division match, which wasn't bad or anything. Xavier pretty much got up in the wing, hit him with the that waterfall kick he does, and I think P hit a Canadian Destroyer after that, and he was able to hit Rohit with that kick and won. I don't know what this means or if he's getting a title shot in that because Swan's not around right now and he's kind of involved in something else. So, kind of a random fatal 4-way match if you ask me. But when we get to the main event, ECW, I guess. See, we have a phone call here, people. Yes, Van Dam versus Tommy Dreamer, ECW Arena. Of course, they had several stalemates in this match, dodged each other's moves, doing several of them, which, of course, you had pretty much ECW chants, Let's Go Dreamer, RVD chants, You Still Got It. Even though Dreamer is, just like I said before, Dreamer is on any show, so of course he still got it. Van Dam still got it too, to an extent. I will say that. I do believe he could still go. Hit a good rolling thunder in the ring, I'll say that. Of course, Dreamer even got said to get the match wasn't bad or anything. And stuff, which pretty much Van Dam did a very long distance, very, very long distance 5-star frog splash for the win. As Callahan said, it's like 1999 again out here. It's just funny. I'm like, I remember somebody telling me, so what is this, 1998 ECW? Hell, what is this, 2005 ECW? Well, WWE if you want to go with that, or One Night Stand. But, hell, it's just damn near almost 2000. They had a match in 2010, if I remember, with Van Dam and Tommy Dreamer, if I'm not mistaken. But, of course, the crowd ate this up. This is the ECW Arena. This is Philadelphia. So, of course, they just got a standing ovation of chants. Like I said, it wasn't a bad match or anything, to what I can say. I know some are going to say they're kind of older, but they can still go. I'll give it that. Van Dam, of course, usually does moves as usual. Rolling Thunder, that kick he does on the outside. What was it, that thrust kick he does, Van Dam's moves, and stuff, but, pretty much after the match, the North came out and attacked, and then, Moose came out and attacked, and also, Van Dam, Van Dam too, which pretty much the lights went out. Next thing you know, Sabu and his manager, I forget the woman's name, I think she was something to do with a genie, I think, which, ended up with Sabu throwing chairs at everyone's heads. Van Dam hit a Van Daminator on Moose then after that, with the ECW originals pretty much closing the show to Van Dam's music ending this week's Impact. So I just find it funny that you have 3 original members of ECW. I've said this for about ECW. If it's one thing I know about ECW, people will never let ECW die. If it's one thing I've seen for years with them, somehow, some way, ECW always finds a way to come back from the dead and try to take over something. I've been saying that for years now, because if it ain't some type of invasion, I've seen damn near 3 or 4 invasion angles I think they've done between WWE and TNA, or it looks like, or any other company. So, just seeing, RVD, Dreamer, and Sabu again, I don't know. It's probably end up in some 6-man tag for all I know next week. So I can see that happening. I think this may be probably a 1 or 2 time thing for Sabu. Dreamer is just all over the place. Van Dam is signed with Impact, but the guy just his promos, every time I just see him, he's all fucking stoned every week like he's high as shit. I'm waiting for him to do a segment with the Rascals though. That's what I want to see. That'll probably be hilarious. Or he'll end up with a match with them one way or another because it's Van Dam. But we will see what happens in this whole thing. I don't know what to expect next, but I thought it was at least a good episode of Impact. Pretty much solid show. I wouldn't say as great as last week's, but it was pretty good with to what I saw on here. So check out the show if you can. Check out other reviews that are posted up right now. Please check out my Double or Nothing review from last Saturday. Talked about that whole show for about an hour. Comment, subscribe at Hooded Knight 890. I am out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out.